Yo, what's up YouTube? It's OG and today I'm happy to announce that I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel and it's going to be called the Do's and Don'ts. So for this series, I'm going to go through each competitive 3v3 game mode. I might do Showdown after 2, I'm not sure yet. And I'm going to essentially tell you what to do and what you don't want to do. So these are a lot of tips that have helped me in the game modes and I'd like to share my knowledge with you guys. Just an FYI, I accidentally shaved my mustache off today, so press F for mustache. But besides that, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so today we're going to be covering Siege. Now Siege is the newest game mode that was just released in the recent update. It is so hyped up right now and it is tons of fun, so I can't wait to share these tips with you guys. But Siege it's somewhat similar to Heist in the sense that you have two safes and the goal is to get your safe to get the enemy's safe to 0%, or at least lower than your safe, in the 4.5 minutes that the game spans. But in Siege, you have the ability to spawn a giant robot by collecting bolts in the middle of the map. So this is obviously a big difference, and you want to take advantage of the robot as much as you can. This mode also has an insane plus-minus ratio. It's double than every other mode, so you can either push a ton of cups or lose a lot of cups. So hopefully, after watching this video, I can help you guys get all the cups that you need. Alright guys, let's get into some do's. So for my first do, I have control the middle. And I know I was talking about this a lot in Jesse video, and it's just really important in the meta right now. And it makes sense because a lot of the game modes, you control mid, you control like most of the map, you can spawn trap, etc. But in Siege, it is especially important because that is where all the bolts spawn. Now, the bolts are essentially what let you win the games because you can push, and there's like a little glitch right now where you can shoot with Brock on a certain map. I forget the exact map, but you can hit it from outside the radius. But the main thing that you need to do in Siege is basically control the mid. That's where all the bolts spawn. And just make sure you can grab as many bolts as you can so you can get like really strong robots and just push your enemies back out of position. Alright, so for the second do, let's say that you can get perfect control of the mid, and you and the opponent team are having like an equal fight for mid control. What you really want to do is when you see a bolt spawning, just try getting in position and playing like a little overly aggressive so you can get the bolt first. Now, as long as you get a majority of the bolts per round, you will get a robot that spawns in and it'll push your enemy team completely out of the mid first. Be careful though, because your enemy's bolts can stack up, and same with yours, if you don't get a robot in any of the previous rounds. So controlling mid, playing aggressive for all the bolts, it's like ideal and very key in this game mode. Alright, so for the third do, I have know when you can finish the safe. And this is very important because you obviously don't want to over push or like under push. You want to get as much damage to the safe as possible. And I've noticed a lot of time people coming out early when they could have finished the safe easily just because they're cautious, which it's okay to play cautiously, but if you can like take the game, it's better to take the game earlier because like you said, if you got a robot, then that means your opponent still has their bolts from the previous rounds. So you got to know when you can finish the safe, and there's also a few brawlers, let's say like the safe's at like 15%. If you have an invisible Leon, you can do 18% damage. So you don't even need a robot for that, you can just sneak around, like watch out for the enemies of course, and then like get on the safe directly and do like 18 damage by yourself. Bull can also dash in, do like 20% damage. Brock can spam a few shots, I think it's 12% damage. So just like know what brawler you're playing and what percent they can do in like a certain amount of time, even with the turret on them, because you can attack. Sorry, that's my cat. But yeah, you can attack without the robot, so don't think you're completely reliant on the robot. If they have like 25 bolt robot and their safe's at like 10%, just forget the robot, screw it, just like go directly for that safe, see if you can chip it down. Okay, so we covered a bit of offense and obviously the mid control, but what to do on defense. So let's say you guys screwed up, you couldn't get mid control, they got a big robot coming at you, like what do you do? So for my first, well I guess it's the fourth tip, but my first tip for defense would be always attack the robot first, unless it's like a rare circumstance where let's say there's like an enraged bull like just going to town on your safe, just finish the bull off, but your primary target always wants to be the robot. Now, because your turret like typically locks onto the robot first, unless your enemies aren't very bright and going ahead of the robot, then the turret just does, or the Ike I should say, the Ike just does an insane amount of damage. So you want to take the robot out so it can't tank for your opponents, and the turret can start doing work on your opponents, because it like chips down all of brawlers so fast. It does 1000 damage per hit, which is insane, and it also has incredibly fast fire speed, so it will like clean up anyone like coming in. So yeah, make sure you take out that robot first so your enemies don't have anything to tank for them. Alright, so for my last do, it is another tip for defense. Now, for my number 5 do, I have body block for the safe sometimes. And it doesn't mean, typically I'm not talking about body block your opponent's shots. That's only in like rare circumstances because they'll take you out pretty fast. But the robot actually doesn't do too much damage, and if you're a tank, let's say Bull, Pam, Primo, Frank, you know, you can all tank for the robot damage, and obviously the objective of the game is to get yours safe, or your enemy's safe lower than yours, and your enemy's trying to do the same for you. So if you can absorb some of that damage and stay alive and just like hold it off from like getting any chip damage on your safe, it's a really big help. Now, this also works with spawnables like Nita. It works really well with Nita's bear. And then Jesse's turret, you know, they both have healing effects, so they can stay up for a long time. And Pam's turret, Penny's turret, you know, just drop it in front, directly in front of the robot's attack path, because it doesn't like lock on too much if it's to the side. So you want to make sure it's blocking its way to your Ike. But yeah, as long as you can absorb some of the damage, you know, as I said, the tanks, like the spawnables, they're all great. Even like Mortis, something like that, you know, as long as you can avoid taking some damage, I think it's definitely worth it. So body block whenever you can. Do not body block penny shots. Alright, so we covered my 5 do's. Now let's get into the don'ts. So I managed to think of 3 don'ts. I'm sure there's a lot more, you know, write in the comment section if you have any more, like PM me, and maybe I can like edit in the description, but I could come up with 3 solid don'ts that I think are crucial for every Siege game. So for number 1, it's don't overcommit on your attacks, and I touched on this a little earlier, but I see a lot of teams doing this, so you guys really want to make sure you do not overcommit on your attacks, because let's say you get team wiped, your robot goes down, your enemy has their bolts from the previous round, and they have mid control now. So you're going to have a really tough time recovering and getting back into mid control and grabbing enough bolts so that they don't get a super strong robot, especially in the later rounds, because the later rounds are where the robot really wins everything for you. So I typically, it depends on what brawler I am. If I'm a close range brawler, I'll start heading out when I see the robot at like 9,000, 8,000 HP, just because I don't want to get caught up with the Ike. It's devastating, it destroys you. And if I'm a long range brawler, like depending, let's say I'm a Brock or something, I'll like be a little cheeky, you know, I'll stay in, get a few like chip shots, try to get that fire damage on the safe, and I'll typically back out at around like 3,000, probably like 4,000, 5,000, just to play it safe. So as I said earlier, mid control is crucial in this game, and if you die by overextending on an attack, it's just getting rid of mid control. So don't do that, guys. Okay, so for the second don't, I have do not stand too close to your robot or your teammates or your spawnables when the Ike is attacking it. Yes, guys, the Ike does do splash damage. Wow. So as I said earlier, it's 1,000 per hit, crazy fast fire speed, so you do not want to be anywhere close to someone getting attacked by it or something getting attacked by it. So just keep your distance, you know, spread out on your attacks, and just be cautious of what the Ike is locked onto. Alright, here we are, the final don't for the video. So I think this is very important, and a lot of people don't seem to like worry about it too much, but it is crucial to building up a solid attack. Do not die when you're building up a robo push. Okay, now robo pushes are typically how you win games, and you want to always be there to support it. Think of the robot as a tank, because essentially it is a tank, but you're the DPS. I don't know if you guys have ever played RPG games, but the damage always stays behind the tank in RPG games, and it's like the same here. So you always want to be able to support the robot, because like I said earlier, it can get distracted. Let's say they put like Jesse turrets, they're healing the Jesse turrets. The robot doesn't do a crazy amount of damage unless it's like a really high level. Odds are it isn't though. So you need to be there to take out the Jesse turrets, like whatever is like stopping your robot from pushing up. just be there, like do as much damage as you can, let the robot get on the safe, and make sure you're always there to support it. Alright? Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found it informative, interesting, and you're going to take something away from it that's going to better your Siege game. So obviously this is the first entry of the series. If there's anything else that you guys want me to cover in future episodes, just write in the comments. You can like DM me on Discord, you know, PM me on Twitter or whatever, you know, and I'll definitely look at it. So I'm always looking for constructive criticism, so appreciate all the feedback, guys. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.